presentation about the functionalist and conflict theory based on gender. We will be answering three main questions. The first question is, according to sociologists, what is gender? The second question is, how do functionalists and conflict theorists view gender? And lastly, for each perspective, discuss one critique of those views. According to sociologists, what is gender?
To answer the question, gender is one of the largest subfields within the sociology and features theory and research that are critically interrogated the social construction of gender. How gender interacts with other social forces in society, and how gender relates to social structure overall. Sociologists within this subfield study a wide range of topics.
Sociologist, what is gender?
To answer the question, gender is one of the largest subfields within the sociology and features theory research that are critically interrogate the construction of gender. How gender interacts with other social forces in society, and how gender relates to social structures overall. So, sociologists within the subfield study a wide range of topics with a variety of research methods, including things like identity, social interaction, power and oppression, and the interaction of gender with other things like race, class, culture, religious, and sexuality, among others. So there are some theories we're going to look at to define the gender, which is functionalism, symbolic interactionism, conflict theory, and feminist theory. So under functionalism, we all know that functionalism deals with the division of labor. So down to gender, you see that women and men have to do their roles in the society for that to have the solidarity in the society. For women, here, take a look at this picture. For women, the women has to take care of the family, and the man has to go out and work for the family to provide the bread on the table. For symbolic interactionism, this theory focuses on the micro level, everyday interactions that produce and challenge gender as we know it. So sociologists West and Zimmerman popularized this approach with their 1987 article on doing gender, which illustrates how gender is something that is produced through interaction with people. So if you can take a look here, this parent is interacting with its son. So here, this child will grow up and know that if the car is broken or anything in the household is broken, before you contact any professional, you have to start using your manpower to fix it. The conflict theory. Conflict theory focus on how gender and assumptions and biases about gender differently to the empowerment of men, oppression of women, and structural inequality of women relative to men. These sociologists see gender power dynamics as built into the social structure and thus manifested throughout all aspects of the patriarchy society. For example, if you take a look at this picture, you can see that in the household, the woman is doing everything. He is cooking, taking care of the children. There's some biasness and oppressionness here because the man here is nowhere to be seen. So in the kitchen now, the lady has to do everything. Then we're gonna look at the feminist theory. The feminist theory is a major branch of theory within sociology that is distinctive for how its creators shift their analytic lens, assumption, and topically focus away from the male viewpoint and experience. In doing so, feminist theory shines light on social problems, trends, and issues that are otherwise overlooked or misidentified by the historical dominant male perspective within the social theory. So here in the feminist theory, all the dominate on the oppression that men had over women is now being revolved here now the women here, they say we can do it. So now they say that all that the male are doing, they can also do it. Thank you.
How do functionalist theorists view gender?
Okay. Functionalism was Functionalism was found by Durkheim. Okay, the functionalist perspective sees a society as a complex system whose parts work together to promote solidarity and stability. This approach looks at society through a micro-level orientation, which is a broad focus on the social structures that shape society as a whole, and looks at both social structure and social function. So, as we can see here, this is a human body. So functionalist approach views functionalists as interest in the way society works or how it functions. They make comparison to a human body, to the way the human body functions and works to the way the society works, which means that everyone has to have a task to do so that everything will go properly. In the functionalist theory, women are viewed as the expressive ones. They are taught to be emotional and to give emotional support to their families, whereas men are instrumental and they are the ones who make decisions for the family, and they are the ones who provide economic supervision. So, as I was saying, functionalism addresses society as a whole in terms of the function of its consistent elements, namely norms, customs, traditions, and institutions. A common analogy popularized by Herbert Spencer presents these parts of society as organs, as I have stated here before, that work together, the proper function of the body as a whole. The functionalist perspective of gender inequality was most robustly articulated in the 1940s and 1950s and largely developed by Talcott Parsons' model of the nuclear family. This theory suggests that gender inequalities exist as an efficient way to create a division of labor or as a social system in which particular segments are clearly responsible for certain respective acts of labor. As we can see in this picture, a woman is in the kitchen, she is cooking, and the man here is cleaning his car. So women are tasked to do house chores and the men are tasked to do chores outside the house. Okay, the division of labor works to maximize resources and efficiency. A structural functionalist view of gender inequality applies the division of labor to view predefined gender roles. Structural functionalists posit that gender roles arise from the need to establish a division of labor that will help maintain smooth running of the family and alongside contribute to the stability of the society. In this view, girls and boys are taught different approaches to life. As we can see here in these two pictures, a boy here, they are taught in an early age that boys have to play with cars, and girls have to take care of the babies. As we can see in this picture, a baby is playing with a doll. So this is somehow instilling in their minds that when they grow up, those are their tasks that they have to do. So that is to be okay. And boys are taught instrumentality, that is to be goal-orientated, to focus on tasks and to be concerned for the relationship of the family to outside societal structures. Girls, on the other hand, are taught to be expressive, as I've said before. This is to express their emotions and to look and react to the emotions of others. Thank you.
How do conflict theorists view gender?
A philosopher called Karl Marx came up with the conflict theory. The conflict theory tries to find the basis of social inequality. When we look at society, we see a divide in society. This divide is mainly concerned with the rich, that is called bourgeoisies, and the poor, that is called proletariats. As we can see, the divide is depicted by this picture, which the poor goes this side and the rich goes this side. They are not the same, they are separated. Karl Marx pointed out there is a continuous competition for power between the different classes in society, being rich and poor. Also, how more rich and powerful groups exploit those with less. As we can see in these pictures, this picture over here, this one, there is one that has more than the other, by clearly taking from those who do not have much. Instead of sharing, they are doing an unequal act by making others suffer while they enjoy the financial reward. In simple terms, a rich person gets richer through a poor person's hard work and labor. This can be depicted in this picture on top over here. By the boss does nothing and gains a lot, while others work for that little bit of money offered when the boss has plenty more to give but doesn't. There is always a power struggle because those who have a better place in society always defends their higher and privileged position in society. In a working environment, the owner of the company pays the worker little money, so the workers are unable to progress, and this is an ongoing cycle that the underprivileged cannot get out of. My two examples that I will be giving will refer to these two pictures. This poor family over here and this rich family, because they have a lot of money on the tree, symbolizing that they are rich. As we can see, this family is rich with a lot of money, and the next family is poor with a little bit of money. These two examples will also refer to my point that the poor cannot easily get out from this ongoing cycle. Looking at the wealthy family, they are able to send all their children to study further in a good institution, therefore placing their children a good job that allows them to be rich too. This is then passed from generation to generation in their family. Looking at a poor family, this one over here, they have low paying jobs that cannot afford to send their children to study, thus leaving their children to take on a low paying job just like their parents. This goes on from generation to generations in their family. Marx also says that all human history has some sort of conflict in it.
In gender. The conflict theory can be described as a struggle between the dominant group, which has the tool of production, and worker class, which is exploited by the latter. Karl Marx is the father of the conflict theory, and his colleague, Friedrich Engels, moved this idea and applied this to a family structure, a household. According to his view, a relationship, that of which, between exploiter and the exploited, also exists within a family in a household. He differentiates modern and pre-modern societies, such as the role of men and women. In pre-modern societies, there was no big difference between the two genders, and thus no exploitation occurred. In modern societies, because women were not paid for example, housework, their work began to seem unnecessary, and men show themselves as breadwinners. Capitalism makes male dominance more powerful, and this happens in 3 states. First, capitalism allows for men to have higher income and own private property. Second, women quickly became the consumer part of society because they do not produce but rather is given money from their spouse. Thirdly, capitalism divides men and women in working ways. It puts men to factory and women to house, thus putting importance to male jobs only. Thank you.
For each perspective, discuss one critique of those views.
When we look at the functionalist view, many will disagree with the theory by critiquing it. For this view, everyone in the society has their own responsibility that go with their roles. By everyone knowing their role make the society to be stable. This can also put into the concept of gender, by women having their own role and men having their own role making the society stable. When we look at the point which critique, it will also be easy and simple where everyone play their own role. The roles appointed both female and male. Therefore, why can't our role change when women have their role to also empower their gender? Having our role change to what a gender would like to take on as a role. Women having an engineering profession while supporting her husband. Society will surely be capable to run smoothly. The functionalist view is unable to explain social change as they focus too much on order and stability in society. Society is continuously changing as women can do what men are labeled to do, and men can do what women are labeled to do. For an example, men doing domestic care, and while women are being the breadwinners. As long as individual is doing what they would like to do, society will then run smoothly. It will force men and women into roles they don't want to do, what surely won't be stability in society.
Well, conflict theory enlightens us about the imbalances that are there in our society. It goes to an extent of showing us how men use the power to suppress women and oppress women. According to conflict theory, society is defined by the struggle of dominance between social groups that compete for resources. As you can see on this picture here, that males, even in workplace, they are much more superior than women, which is obviously it's fighting for resources. Gender inequality starts with the little ones by showing them that as females they need to use doll when playing, and then boys will also use cars when playing. Now that creates imbalances within them. Now, as it is shown in this picture here, even in many places that women and men do not earn a similar amount of money. Normally a boy will have a car, as I've alluded before, just to boost his confidence that maybe when he grow up, he needs to buy a car because males do buy a car. Now, conflict theory explains us gender inequality. It goes to an extent of giving us all the imbalances that are there in our societies that are perpetuated by the fighting of resources. By all means possible to maintain power and privilege at the cost of women's benefits, according to conflict theorists, women can be seen as submissive. As you can see here, it's written solely, you are simply not the right man for the job, simply because maybe the woman had to sleep with a male first before she was appointed for the position that she was applying for. Now, this is due to materialistic conditions that views women as dependent on men, since men are the breadwinners at some stage, in some instances, in some families, which is the societal expectation. In terms of conflict theory, the man is defined as a thesis, while the woman is defined as an antithesis. Now, the thesis and the antithesis are opposition to one another and thus struggle persons. But eventually, the compromise is reached between two groups, which allows for another thesis and antithesis to appear. Gender inequality exists in the workplace, as I've alluded in this picture, and also here in this picture. Now, on how other women fighting for gender equality, which is perpetrated by feminists. Now, feminists promote and fight for women's rights. For Thomas Sankara once said, there is no true liberation of women without the liberation of women. Thank you.
Okay, in conclusion, as we have discussed all our views, we have explained the gender according to sociologists, and explained the functionalist and conflict view of gender and the critiques. Hopefully, we have. Okay. So that will be the end of our presentation. I hope someone has learned something from what we have said. Yeah. So please, may I call out my group members? Come forward. Okay, so these are the people behind this work here. The camera woman is behind the camera, so she couldn't come forward. Thank you. That is the end of our presentation.